What do you get when you put 5 artists, a bird watcher, a musician and a farmer in the same room? An episode of the Deepdale Podcast, of course. It's May 2025, I'm Jason, and this is the Deepdale Podcast, our magazine programme about beautiful North Norfolk. In this episode, I chat with Tobias Ben Jacob about his upcoming gig at Deepdale on the 17th of May. 5 artists taking part in North Norfolk Open Studios tell us more about this amazing local arts event from the 24th of May to the 8th of June. Ollie from One Stop Nature Shop gives us a wildlife update, and my sister Anna updates us about Open Farm Sunday on the 1st of June at Deepdale Farm. As always, you can find more information on all these chats on our website with photos and relevant links. Don't forget that we list a huge range of events on our website. We are constantly adding to the listings, and there is everything from cookery courses to street food, exhibitions to theatre, motoring pageants to wildlife events. And May is a fabulous time of the year to enjoy North Norfolk. Our beaches are stunning in the sunshine and relatively quiet, except for the bank holidays. The wildlife is loving the longer days, and you can't beat a cold drink in a pub garden under blue skies. Enjoy the listen, and we hope to see you on the North Norfolk coast for some or all of the events we cover. If you enjoy the listen, then please do subscribe and leave us a review on your favourite podcast app or directory. And there is a huge back catalogue of episodes to listen to.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, fistful of samphire, sea, lavender, see you next year.
So I am on Zoom and I am chatting to Tobias Ben Jacob, who has played at Deepdale before, but we're very excited. He is returning on the 17th of May, just a few short days away. He played at the 2023 festival as part of a duo, and this time it's sort of his tour, but Chris Cleverley is joining him, and they're going to be playing, and I believe Chris's partner as well, which I'm sure Tobias will tell us a bit more about in a moment. Yeah, so they're playing our Brick Barn on the 17th of May as our monthly gig comes around, and we're really looking forward to these guys coming back onto the stage. Both Tobias and Chris played at the 2023 festival, played together a lot of times since, so we're looking forward to having them on stage. Thanks for joining me on the podcast. I know it's been a crazy time touring and doing all sorts of other stuff, so thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for the invitation.
So whereabouts in the world are you at the moment? Yeah, are you mid-tour or what's...
home. I'm at home today. Yeah, I was gigging at the weekend, but I'm back in the English Riviera. I'm in Torquay at the moment.
Excellent. So you're having a bit of normal time before you get back onto the stage.
That's right, yeah.
Are you just performing at Deepdale this weekend, or have you got other things coming up as well?
We're coming to you on the Saturday, then we're playing in Surrey, one of my favourite venues in Surrey, on the Sunday afternoon. Brilliant. Yeah, excellent. So getting the miles in this weekend.
How did the kind of collaboration between you and Chris come about? Because you guys have played together quite a few times or known each other from festivals and stuff for quite a long time, haven't you?
That's right, yeah. So I've been a friend of Chris for a few years now, probably 5 years, and we've done gigs together in terms of been on the bill together and arranged gigs together, and we've collaborated here and there, but we've talked a fair bit over the years of collaborating and doing more, and it's always, you get busy or we never quite managed it, but yeah, we've come together, and I really respect him as a songwriter in his own right and the thing that he does. But he's just, I just love his guitar playing, just the idiosyncrasy of what he does and the uniqueness, and put this set together. And he's just been absolutely brilliant. It's been great.
So I believe there's going to be three of you on stage on Saturday. Is that right?
That's right. So Chris's partner Kathy is also a singer. She was in a female folk group before called Said the Maiden, and she's a great harmony singer. So yeah, she's coming along and doing some backing vocals with us as well.
Lovely. That's going to be fantastic. It's going to sound beautiful in the barn.
Yeah, the three-part harmony just sounds sublime. I'm really enjoying it.
Have you two played quite a few gigs recently together, or is this kind of the beginnings of the partnership?
So we've been rehearsing for a couple of weeks, but our first gig was Bristol Folk Festival, which was the 3rd of May. So when we come to you, it'll be our third gig, I think, third gig together. But yeah, we've done a festival and a gig at the weekend, and both just been great, just really well received and really enjoyable to do.
Are you traveling from different parts of the world, or are you all roughly in the same part of the world?
No, Chris is in Bedford, so yeah, quite different parts of the world. Yeah,
Yeah,
different parts of the country. Yeah, he's on the other side. So I'm going to see him again actually this weekend, and then we're going to travel down. We're going to travel across from Bedford because where you are is probably the furthest point that we're traveling to.
Oh, I'm huge apologies, but we're very grateful. We're very, very
We
grateful.
do love your part of the country. I don't get there very often, but when I came down to your festival in 2023, I just love that part of the country. So I'm looking forward to getting back down there.
So can I ask you, like, in terms of how you write and how the process works for you, what comes first? Is it the music, or is it the words, or is it kind of a conglomeration of the two?
I find I have I keep notes on my phone, musical notes and lyrical notes, and I generally have an abundance of musical notes always. I find if I'm honest, I find writing music much easier than writing words. Words for me is a pursuit that I really go deep, and so I often do have musical ideas filed away, and in my voice memos on my phone I always have an abundance of them. So mainly I have the music, and then I get the lyrical ideas, and I start to form them around music that I have. And sometimes it does just happen together. I'll just be feeling a mood on the guitar and start writing a song. But generally I have a backlog of musical ideas, and I have scraps of lyrical ideas on my phone, and I'll piece them together when I get the moment to do it.
And have you and Chris found yourself being creative in the green room, sort of, strumming away and suddenly realizing that you've got a tune that's coming? Because I've heard that from a few sort of duos that have come together, and they're sort of just thrown together for a gig and suddenly find themselves kind of, oh yeah, that might work.
Yeah, that does happen. We've been quite knuckling down, sort of really trying to arrange the songs. I have a whole new set of songs, and so we've been zooming in on those and trying to really get those down. But yeah, you find yourself do a little noodle, and then suddenly you're like, oh, there's something there. Let's record that and come back to that. It's often in the unconscious moments that something arises that you felt like just a little improvisation, but then suddenly you realize, oh, that's something to pursue there. So yeah, there's definitely stuff to pursue there.
Excellent. That's very exciting. That's great. And how long have you been, do you have a formal training in music, or was it something that just you sort of naturally picked up?
Well, it's a bit of both really, because I was a self-taught guitarist from, I say fairly late, from like the age of 16, 17. And then my uncle taught me all the stuff that he knew and loved, like Bob Dylan and the Beatles and Bowie and all sorts of stuff. But then later, as a mature student, I did go to uni and do a music degree. So I do actually have a music degree as well, on top of my years of just being a guitar busker or whatever.
Guitar, your primary instrument. You don't randomly pick up 1,000 different instruments on the stage.
Not on stage. I have had various stringed instruments over the years, and I did do a gig recently where I sort of polished up my piano skills and stuff, and I would say I'm a rudimentary keys player, but I've been meaning to improve that and start writing on that instrument. But yeah, it's mainly guitar and voice.
Well, we are really, really looking forward to your gig on Saturday. Really looking forward to it. You'll kindly let me include a sample of one of your live tracks of you and Chris playing. What's the song that we're going to play?
For the Old Ways Are Gone,
Well,
which is a very folk-inspired tune. It arose actually, sadly, my father passed away. It's been about 2 years now, and it meant me going back to my hometown quite a lot. And it's really inspired by this feeling when you lose a parent or someone, you sort of get this feeling of a generation passing away. Like my father always had that when he'd lose an uncle or a grandfather, and you feel like that generation's passing away. So it's a kind of a song about, it has some sort of subtle allusions to issues we deal with in the modern world, and it has this overall nostalgic feeling of a generation passing away, I think. Yeah. And it has a very Dylan inspired sort of feel to it, and Chris does this really elaborate guitar, so it has these elaborate interlocking guitar riffs in it, and it's played at a Bristol Folk Festival, and it's just been received quite well, I think.
Is folk where you say you feel your music belongs? Is that the kind of the genre that sits best for the description of your songs?
I would say not exclusively, but definitely it's one of the stronger influences, and the stuff that I'm about to do is very much folk inspired, with like folk instrumentation. We've done some of these gigs on this tour with Joseph O'Keefe from India Electric Co. I think he played at your festival as well.
Yes, and he's playing, and they're playing in September.
Oh, okay, yes. So he's been playing with me accordion and fiddle, and he'll be playing on the album, and there'll be like layered guitars and bouzouki and sort of a very much a folk tinged sound. Although we do actually do one trad number as well in the set, and in this current set. But yeah, it's very much a folk tinged sound.
Thank you so much for chatting to me. Really kind of you. And I hope travels over the weekend are uneventful. It's probably the best you can offer in the UK, isn't it, really? Yeah. And we really look forward to seeing you on the Brick Barn stage at Deepdale on Saturday evening. It'll be absolutely wonderful. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Well, friends, I've had many and lovers a few, and I bless them all in their way. As I search for meaning in a troubled world, and I gladly greet the day. If I should scorn my father's advice and lose myself in the race, would you lift up my eyes to the living world, take this gadget from my face? And lay your weary hand in mine, and we'll watch the setting sun. Come spend a while in my company, for the old ways are gone. Oh, lay your weary hand in mine, and we'll watch the setting sun. Come spend a while in my company, for the old ways are gone. Thank you.
So I'm sitting in an artist studio in the beautiful village of Clare, and we are going to be chatting about Norfolk Open Studios, or North Norfolk Open Studios, should I say. And it's a huge range of artists producing all forms of work of any type you can really imagine. And in this particular studio, I'm surrounded by sort of montage and decoupage and things like that. And I'm going to get the artists to explain a bit more about them and introduce themselves in a moment. If you haven't attended or dipped in and dipped out of North Norfolk Open Studios before, then this is a brilliant opportunity to see artists in their natural environment. It's a bit like going to see wildlife in their natural environment. Learn more about their art, possibly buy art while you're going around, but basically to understand just how incredibly vibrant the art scene is in North Norfolk. Thank you for inviting me to your studio. Introduce yourself and tell me what sort of work you do.
Hi, Jason. My name's Tess Meadows, and I'm a mixed media artist. Been doing this for about 19 years now, I think. God, I don't believe I'm that old. And I work in mixed media. And all that means really is working with more than one media. So I mainly do collage, but I also use paint and other various ephemera in my work, which is, you can see, surrounded by bits of paper as we sit here.
Yeah, it's fabulous. There's lots and lots of containers of all different types of paper and other interesting things, and then there's blocks on the table which have got all manner of different things, sort of bits of handwritten stuff and photos and text from books and that kind of thing. It's fascinating. What drew you towards this type of medium?
That's a really interesting question, because the course I did about 19 years ago, I was living in St Ives in Cornwall at the time, and I did a fine arts, an HND in fine arts, and really we studied everything. We drew, we did printmaking, we did collage, we did everything. And at the end of that 2-year course, you kind of veer towards what really interests you. And for some reason, collage was my thing. I think I don't draw per se. I can draw with a stitch, but I don't go out and paint things in the countryside. I think just collage came natural to me, because I work intuitively. Therefore, I love to be surrounded by my materials, and then I just start on a piece. So that's kind of how it works. And I love working in 3D as well. I do some 3D like assemblages, which is also like collage, but working in 3D. I don't know. I think the artists that inspired me at the time, people like Rauschenberg and Schwitters and Joseph Cornell, they were people that kind of really inspired me when I was in college. And that's why I'm probably working in this medium now.
If people were to pop in and see you during North Norfolk Open Studios, what can they expect from a visit?
A bonkers artist.
I think there's plenty of those in North Norfolk.
Yeah, plenty of bonkers artists. No, I think the beauty of open studios really is just what you were saying earlier about coming to see the art, meeting the person behind the work. I think there's one thing seeing the work on a wall, let's say in a shop, a gallery or wherever. There's another thing meeting the artists and seeing their process and seeing the mad place that they work in, and just finding more, out more about the work and what inspires the work. I mean, I also do art workshops and things like that too, so I'm going to be talking a lot to people about the workshops that I do, and which, there's a lot of ladies I'm finding that are complete beginners that are probably retirement age, and they want to, because creativity, as we all know, is so good as well for our health. I really want to encourage that too, and it's nice to be able to give back, so I'm going to be talking a lot to people about that as well.
And how did an artist who studied in Cornwall end up in Norfolk?
That's a really good question, because I'm actually from Lincolnshire. But I was a bit of a boho young woman, I guess, really. I did a lot of travelling, and I ended up moving down to Cornwall, probably because it is a bit of an artist. I wasn't doing art then. It was a total midlife change of career for me. But when I did move down to Cornwall, because I wanted to be in a place that was kind of vibrant, and I was immediately just hooked with all the little artists in their studios, and that's what really inspired me to go back to college and do this as a living.
Yeah.
The days I've chosen are mainly Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. So I'm doing 24th, 25th, 26th, 30, 31 of May, and then I'm doing 1st, 6th, 7th and 8th of June, which are mostly Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays with an odd bank holiday Monday thrown in. But anything that anyone needs to know, it's all on the website anyway, which is www.northnorfolkstudios.co.uk. You'll probably see the pamphlets out as we speak. You can choose the different artists you want to go and see, and I think you'll be guaranteed of a good day out.
I've never been disappointed when I'm out wandering around, stopping in. You meet all sorts of really interesting people. You see some really interesting art, and just like going to an art gallery, isn't it? Some things you love, some things you don't necessarily click with. But I think the thing is, it's seeing really interesting work and kind of understanding how that's influenced. And some people are clearly influenced by the environment they're sitting in immediately, and other people, your work here is clearly a real mix of influences and what takes you at the time. So I think it's really fantastic. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. It's really kind of you.
You're most welcome, Jason. It's been my pleasure.
So I am in another beautiful part of the North Norfolk coast. So I'm in the beautiful village of Salthouse. I'm chatting with another artist about North Norfolk Open Studios. I'm in her beautiful studio, which is just the most fabulous space. Amazing art.
I'm Carole Griffin. I'm a member of the Royal Society of British Artists. I'm a professional artist. I now live in North Norfolk. I used to live in London. We moved up just after COVID, and my husband designed this studio, which is fantastic. So if you do come here, there's lots to see. My work, I would say, I always work from life, so I do not work from photographs. I work in oils, and I also work in watercolours. And actually, I paint anything and everything. And if you come and have a look, you can see where I've been. So there's pictures of Venice, there's pictures of Wales, there's pictures of Scotland, and there's a lot of still life because I love concentrating. And when you're concentrating and in the zone, everything else disappears. And that's what I love about painting. And I've always painted. I painted when I was a child. Went to the Central School in London. I got a scholarship to America, the Leverhulme Scholarship, which gave me loads of money to travel around America, which was great. And then I came back and set up a studio. Actually, I was trained in graphics, and you probably see from my work, it is quite graphic. So,
looking at some of the still lifes, like the radishes there, you can definitely see that illustration sort of aspect to it, definitely.
Well, you can see what I'm painting, basically. You can understand it. It's there. Yeah. It's not abstract. And what attracts me to anything, really, is its beauty. Because sometimes I'm just sat and I might be looking at a cup or a glass or some flowers, and I just think, wow, look at the colour, look at the light. And so that's what I try and do. I try and convey what attracted me to the objects or the landscape. In fact, I have started doing, because the studio's in such a fab position right next to the sea, I've started doing plein air stuff. So I've started doing Salthouse Village, the local walk to the Clare bird place, and the local fields. So there's a bit of both, and I will, when the weather's better, because it's absolutely freezing today, when the weather's good, I will be out there with my easel and with all my gear painting, all plein air.
Well, it is beautiful. I'm standing here and you can look right across the salt marshes and out towards the sea. It's absolutely wonderful, and what a fantastic space. And so if people are coming to visit you, which days are you open of the fortnight?
Right, of the fortnight, I'm just open the weekends. So the first weekend is 3 days because it's a bank holiday. So that's May the 24, 25, 26. Then I'm not open the rest of the week, but I'm open again the next 2 weekends. So Saturday and Sunday, and then the last Saturday and Sunday.
Excellent.
And that's 10 till 5.
When they come, will it be you simply working and them visiting and looking at the studio, or will you be kind of doing workshops or just chatting to people as they ask questions?
Well, what people like to see me working. And I'll probably be working in watercolour just because it's easy and quick. And sometimes, it depends how many people are here, etc. But sometimes I'll give people a bit of a lesson. So if you fancy a dabble, I've got all the gear and you can have a go yourself. Come along, and if you fancy a bit of instruction, I will be happy to oblige.
Even if they haven't tried it before, they should definitely come along and visit a few artist studios.
Look forward to seeing you all. Do come.
My name's Berni Marfleet. I make metal sculptures, basically. I do other stuff as well, but that's my main thing. So I've been doing it many, many years. I started off with ceramics. Since at school, really, I just like making things. So the metal came out of a project I was doing with a friend to build a little sports car out of scrap material. And so I had to learn to weld, and then the whole thing just took off. So that was over 20 years ago. That's how it started.
I've been to your studio many years ago.
Right.
I think it must have been during Norfolk Open Studios rather than North Norfolk Open Studios. But yeah, we came to North Walsham and loved your sculptures. They were fabulous. They were great.
Cool.
Really nice pieces of work. What can people expect if they, getting involved with North Norfolk Open Studios, sort of heading around the county and seeing amazing art? What can they expect from visiting an artist like yourself, or specifically yourself?
Well, we all do different things in different ways, but what I have is more, it's 3D work, it's sculptures, and it's items, pieces that are inside, but largely outside as well. So there's some smaller pieces inside that can be seen in my studio and in my workshop, and then in the gardens around my house. That is what you can see, but it's also about the conversations you can have and see how I go about my work in my workshop. And it's to have a bit of a chat and a martel as well, so that's for me one of the great things about open studios is you get to talk to people who are interested in art in general, but sometimes about metal and scrap metal and sculptures, so it's a two-way benefit, really.
People will want to kind of do a collection of studios in an area, and this is where the trails come in, isn't it? So you're in the North Walsham Trail, are you, or the?
That's right. It's the villages around North Walsham, from Worstead, South Reps, Antingham, Susted. So we've been doing the trails for many years, actually, with Norfolk Open Studios, and then when that's we then set up a cooperative, a different style of things, of organisation about 5 or 6 years ago, just in North Norfolk, and that was based on trails, because the trails have two real benefits. One, it gives you a link with the local community, the hospitality, the pubs, the cafes, the library, schools, and then also it helps us as artists, who can be quite isolated, to support each other and to have some fun as well. So that's the two benefits of being in a trail. Together, you make more. You do better.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And there's so many trails for people to choose from. I was just looking on the website, and there's Aylsham and the Villages, there's Bacton and Beyond, Castle Acre and District, which is very close to us at Burnham Deepdale. Cromer, it has its own. Fakenham East, Holt, High Kelling and District, Norfolk Broads Art Trail, North Walsham to South Reps Art Trail, which is the one you're in, Reefham and District, Rivers Thurn and Bure, and Sheringham and District.
I think as a model in terms of those benefits to artists and to the local community, I think it helps to organise things, because then it's down to the trails to actually get things going as well, And we've had a lot of support here in North Walsham from the local community. So, that has a mutual benefit here too. That connection with people who come round, and I overuse the word sometimes, serendipity. It's the surprises you get, and also the surprises that people who come to my place express. Oh, I didn't realise this was here, and everybody has a different view about art. That's the delight of it, really, to have the conversations around it. My work is not totally figurative. I leave it to the viewer to actually make their mind up about what they think it is. But I love, wildlife, insects, birds, but they're not absolutely figurative in that sense. They are my suggestion of what I was feeling about making that creature. And some of it's more abstract, And I like to get movement into what I'm creating. And of course, especially at the moment with our northerly winds, our lazy winds, we get quite a lot of movement going on in the garden. So yeah, the garden does sway around a bit.
Well, thank you so much for chatting to me on here. Really nice. And I really hope you have a fantastic couple of weeks. Are you open every day during the 2 weeks?
No, the weekends, the bank holiday, and each Friday.
Yep.
So it's 3 days and then 4 days at the bank holiday, which starts off in the end of May. And it's 10 to 5. That's our sort of standard hours. Yeah. Excellent. But it's best to check on the website or in the brochure for the actual times of artists. They all vary, but we've tried to have some basic times when people are open.
So I'm in my third studio of the day, and I'm loving this bit of doing the podcast because I get to see some wonderful art and meet some really interesting artists. And this time I am in the lovely town of Holt. It's got lots and lots of little shops all over the place. And I'm in a great little studio, which is this wonderful 2-story studio in a courtyard full of the wonderfully bright art. And I am with an artist who's about to introduce herself. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Jason. Thanks for coming over. My name's Antonia Clare, and I'm an artist and a writer. I live in Holt, and this is my studio gallery, so welcome.
Fantastic. And how long have you been in Holt for?
So I've lived in Holt for about 20 years. I had a studio just outside Holt in Glanford for the last few years, which was lovely, but I was desperate for more space, and this place came up. And this has always been an art gallery. It used to be Barron Art. It's a beautiful old listed building. So I feel very lucky to have the space. And as you saw, I have the studio upstairs, and then downstairs is a gallery space. So yeah, it's living the dream, really.
Fantastic. And how would you describe your art? What's if somebody who, they'll see the photo on our website, but if they're listening to this podcast driving through the wilds of wherever, and or sat on the M25 in traffic, and they're wanting to imagine your art, how would you describe it?
I should have checked what it says on the website, but I think it's my work is very colourful. It's contemporary, expressionist. So I'm looking to express what I feel about the Norfolk coast. So a lot of my work is kind of semi-abstracted seascapes, where I'm trying to pick up on the colours, the sense of freedom and the expanse of the Norfolk coast, the big skies. I do quite a lot of still life work, which again is, I don't want to mention particular artists, but yeah, I like a very colourful style. I'm very inspired by people like Matisse and Cézanne and a lot of the Fauve expressionist painters. So, and I also love to just play with colour. Colour is the driver. I like to think of myself as a colourist. So I also work quite abstractly. Just playing with colour because it brings such joy. So yeah, I like to think of the space as an uplifting. Art has this amazing capacity to kind of inspire us and make us feel good about the world, and the world can sometimes be a dark place. So I like to think that this is a little haven of colour and positivity.
If people came to visit you during Open Studio, they can clearly come to this to the gallery at any time because you're in Holt and you're open most days of the week, I guess. With the actual open studio, what can people expect from coming along to that?
So I like to show people around the studio. I will probably be demonstrating how I work. So I quite often bring, certainly, from May onwards, we have the courtyard outside, so I sometimes paint outside. And I love nothing more than talking about art. So generally when people come to visit me, yes, all year round, but we can sit and talk about their own. It tends to be a lot of artists who come to open studios as well, so we can talk about their own work. Or if people don't paint themselves, we tend to talk about my process, or just life in general. Come and have a cup of tea and a chat. I think art, again, it has the real capacity to connect people. I think that's one of the nice things about it. So, yeah, it's just a nice place to come and talk to people.
You mentioned, I think when the other artist was in here when I arrived, that you also do workshops. So tell me a bit more about those.
Yeah. So I run workshops more or less on a monthly basis, and I probably will try and do one during Open Studios. I call them Expressive Painting, How to Paint Loosely and with Freedom. And we basically it's a small group. I run them in the gallery, and we just have fun with paint. It's a really nice thing to do. Sometimes mother and daughter kind of couples come along, or friends, groups of friends. And we just, I think there's for a lot of us, we feel like we'd love to paint, but we're not really very good. We have that perfectionist that tells us, that the work isn't as good as Matisse or, whoever it is you may love. So we work on kind of just breaking down that mindset and just letting loose and having fun with paint. So, I'll be doing one of those too.
All of the artists featuring on the podcast will be on our blog, and there'll be some information about them, photos of them, and there'll also be website links. So if you want to interested in any of those workshops, just head onto our website and have a look. It's deepdalepodcast.co.uk. I'm really looking forward to Norfolk Open Studios. I always find it's a really nice wander around part of the world that I love and get to see a huge number of really interesting artists. Open from the 24th of May till the 8th of June.
Holt's actually got, I think, 10 art galleries and antique shops and lots of little kind of knick-knack shops and beautiful cafes and restaurants. So there's lots to kind of see and do. And the Holt Trail, we've got ceramicists and glass makers. So, when you look at a trail, you can get to see, quite a few different types of art, which is lovely. And if nothing else, you can just pick up a beautiful art card. They're always really popular in Open Studios, and then the artist will always be happy. Thank you.
But if you really wanted to enjoy the art, buy one of the lovely pieces that's hanging on the wall, because that will make you even happier. So that's great. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Really nice to see your little studio, and I really hope it's a fantastic couple of weeks, and I hope that life in your relatively new gallery space is fantastic for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. It's been really nice.
So I'm here in Thorpe Market. I am standing in the studio with horses and fish currently in here, but I get the feeling there's quite a lot of other animals that might appear in due course. And I'm going to let the artists introduce themselves as another one of the artists in North Norfolk Open Studios. So, hello.
Yes, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, my name's Janna Cossettini, and I'm an artist taking part in the North Norfolk Open Studios event. And this is my first time exhibiting with this event here in Norfolk. And predominantly most of my work is based on animals and heavily influenced on the equine, which is the horses, equestrian, and also nature. So loads of birds, dogs, fish, and I'm moving into a new area which will be deer, snipe, woodcock, and that type of thing with shotguns as well. So that's a whole different slant which is coming up. But during the 2 weeks that we've got on display for everyone to come in, we're open every day, and we'll be showcasing everything that's fully framed, ready to go, plus me working on my easel, showcasing my work, which is based on pencil work, so it's quite large scale. Very detailed work in pencil. Colour is my but I do a lot of black and white and monochrome as well. So yeah.
So these huge paintings are all pencil, are they?
These are all drawings, yeah.
Wow.
Not paintings, but drawings, yeah. Everything, I've got original art and limited edition print runs, which I'm running with, as well as greeting cards, coasters as well, and packs of cards. I'm available here every day, so if anyone wants to ring in advance and come around and see what I've got, I'm more than happy to accommodate everyone.
And how did you end up here and drawing these pictures? Are you classically trained, or is this something you've just had a passion for? How did you end up doing these huge pictures?
Well, I've always drawn, but I was brought up on a farm in Australia, growing up around animals, wildlife all the time, cattle, horses, pigs, fish. I used to go fishing for trout. So I'm kind of a country girl at heart, and I do a lot of horse riding. So I love to ride dressage. So I have a lot of equestrian themed work available, and that's predominantly my interest. But like I said, now I'm moving into more the countryside area, so more bird life and the nature around us that we're living in.
Yeah, how did someone from Australia kind of end up in Thorpe Market in Norfolk?
Well, I came over. I actually trained. I have a fine arts degree in Australia, so I came over. And my first job was working for Condé Nast in magazines. So I worked for them in Sydney, and then also for Vogue Interiors at World of Interiors at Vogue House in Hanover Square, which has now changed a little bit because of the digital age. So that was my main job for bread and butter. So it was very creative, working with photographers and working for big companies like John Lewis Home and M&S Home. So when that all finished, had 2 children, and then stepped away and took back my art again. So picked up my pencils, started drawing and taking time out and moving further out into the countryside. So hence now being based in North Norfolk, which is lovely, beautiful.
This piece, what's probably a metre high or so, or not far off width. Do you find that size, because of the animals that you're drawing, kind of works really well for you?
You're good, aren't you? So observant. Yes, I tried, because pencil work is usually done A4 or A3 max. So I try and push the boat and do something that nobody else normally would even bother to achieve, especially with pencils because they're so tiny. So I'm working with not pastel at the moment, but just pencil. So it takes, for a piece like this horse with the flowers at the moment, that probably takes about 8 months for me to complete, even though I do it over a period of about a year by the time it's framed up. So, but everything's framed locally here in Holt as well. So yeah, it's just quite intricate work.
You were saying that you're going to turn one of the rooms basically into a gallery for the open studios.
That's correct. Yeah, downstairs, because we're renovating, we've got the liberty to strip back the living room at the moment because we're going to redecorate that later anyway. So we're professionally hanging all the artwork, so everything will be up on display with spotlights, so it will look like a gallery. So every day we're open and hoping to welcome as many people as possible, and there's parking out the front, so it's no problem at all.
Well, thank you so much. That's brilliant. I'm really looking forward to seeing the gallery in full flow. Enjoy your first North Norfolk Open Studios.
Yeah, looking forward to it immensely. So, and hoping to see as many happy faces come through the door as possible.
Hi everyone, it's Ollie from the One Stop Nature Shop in Burnham Deepdale with another update for you. Our focus this time around is spring, which has got to be one of the most, if not the most, exciting periods of the year for bird watching on the Norfolk coast. We're seeing the arrival of migrants from Africa such as hobbies, cuckoos, grasshopper warblers, sedge warblers, reed warblers, swifts, numerous waders, numerous other species as well. And it makes for a really exciting time to be out bird watching. Even if you go across from Dalegate Market onto the marsh opposite, you will find a huge number of species, and there's always something to look for. Despite the weather being a bit up and down, there has been a good arrival of a number of these migrant birds, and it's always worth getting out and exploring and seeing what you can come across, because it is definitely the most exciting time to be out and about. The weather hasn't really been conducive to insects as yet. We've had a few warm days in there, which has seen butterfly numbers begin, but it's certainly a bit slow this year for butterflies and dragonflies. But I'm sure with a bit of warmer weather coming, they'll make an appearance as well. As ever, if you are up on the Norfolk coast, do pop in at Burnham to see us at Burnham Deepdale. We've got all the latest bird news, as well as some spring offers on optics, books, bird food, trail cameras, thermal imagers, you name it, we've got it for watching wildlife. You can also go on our website, where we're still running our 5% off for new customers on a massive range of items. So that's all for this time around. Hope to speak to you again in the near future, and if you are out birding on the Norfolk coast, do remember to pop in. We're delighted to see you.
Chatting to my little sister, and we're going to be chatting about Open Farm Sunday, which is on the 1st of June at Deepdale Farm. That's a week earlier than you'll see some of the national advertising for Open Farm Sunday is. But it's a brilliant opportunity to come and visit our wonderful farm and learn about what it is we do from a regen and organic and farming point of view. So welcome to the podcast, Sis.
Hi, thank you.
So what's happening this year? It's an all-day event, 10 till 4?
Yeah, it's an all-day event. It's on Sunday, the 1st of June, which is the last Sunday of half term. So whether anyone is local or whether they are staying on the North Norfolk coast for half term, we hope that they'll be able to come and visit. And it's a great opportunity for any age to come and visit the farm. So last year we had nearly 200 people who came to the day, which was amazing. And we had everybody from toddlers up to grandparents. We only have one farm walk this year. It's going to be a guided walk that leaves at 11:30 from the farmyard, which is about 3 kilometres and takes everybody around the farm. Between 10 and 4, there will be lots of activities in the farmyard. We've got some partners coming. We've got Norfolk Rivers Trust, who have been there the last few years. We've got Norfolk and Norwich Bat Group. We have hopefully got Dominic, who has some beehives on the farm, coming to talk to us about bees. We have the Lambsdales, who are part of the Iceni bird monitoring group, and they will actually be doing an additional session at 8:30 in the morning in a site close by to the farmyard to demonstrate bird ringing as well.
The most stunning views over Branxton State Harbour, which is absolutely glorious when you do the farm walk. So well worth doing. But you can have a photo in the combine? You know, can kids get a photo in the combine?
So there we'll have some of our machinery out. And certainly you can climb up into the combine, have a look to see what Stephen's view will be come harvest time. Estelle will be running her owl pellet sort of dissection stand. So you can unpick an owl pellet, see what our resident barn owls eat for dinner. And it is quite fun matching up the bones and skull that you can find in there to see what they've been eating. Sounds gruesome, but it is quite fun. Richard will be there he does our green woodworking courses, of which the next one is on the 7th of June. And we've got another one in July and then another in September and October. But if you want to just have a quick go, then he will be there with his pole lathe, so you can have a go at green woodworking. Mum is putting together a quiz on sort of hedgerows and farmland birds and worms. Yes, hopefully we're going to have a lot to do with worms as well.
Excellent. That sounds fun. That's superb. And if you're staying on the campsite, it's very, very easy to access the farmyard because it's literally next door. Just tell the team that you want to come along the Open Farm Sunday, and I'm sure they'll be able to accommodate your camper van or motorhome or whatever it is that you're in. And if you're coming from further afield, then come in to the farm where the big sign says Deepdale Camping, and drive up the drive and follow the car park sign. Free to attend? Just you prefer people to register in advance?
Yeah, so it's totally free. But yes, just so that we can plan for numbers, it is really useful if people can register in advance, and that link is on the website. And another person that's coming who was there last year as well, our Aunt Celia has some working horses. So she has her working cob Bessie, and Bessie may also be bringing her friend Summer as well. So they've been practicing their demonstrations of what they pull and things. So they were a big draw last year.
Yeah, fantastic. That's brilliant. So that's all on the 1st of June, Sunday, the 1st of June, last Sunday of the half term. And if you want any more information, just head to deepdalefarm.co.uk and all the information is there. We'll naturally put links and such like in the podcast description so that you can find what you need. But thank you, Sis. Looking forward to that. It'll be a really good fun event. Really good fun. So you say you've got pole lathing happening with Richard in June and July?
Yes, yeah, we do. And September and October as well.
Have you got some more willow weaving courses coming along as well?
We do. We've got the first one is actually on the 18th of May, but it is currently full. But if people want to join the waiting list, then they can. And then we've got another one on the 14th of September, which is making little mini baskets. And yeah, there are spaces still available on that. So if people are keen, then they should, definitely book in. And hopefully we will have a bat walk towards the end of July. I'm just finalising plans on that.
Excellent. Well, we'll list all of those events on the Deepdale Camping website, but also you can head to Deepdale Farm for any of that info as well. Come along to the Open Farm Sunday. It's really worthwhile if you're in the slightest bit fascinated about where your food comes from and what happens on a rural working farm, then you definitely should come along. As it's a free day out, it's a great opportunity to come along and enjoy the area. And of course, you can always build it into a visit to a local beach or a cafe or a pub or whatever else to kind of combine with. So come along and see the team. 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. on the first Sunday, the 1st of June. Thank you so much for listening to our little slice of North Norfolk. We really do enjoy putting together the Deepdale podcast. Please do subscribe and leave reviews on your favourite podcast app or directory. This really helps our listenership. See you on the beautiful North Norfolk coast again soon.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, fistful of samphire sea, lavender, sea.